So I hope that this eases some of the questions that you may have about traveling international. Now, the next time we talk about it, it might be different.
Yeah, it's constantly changing, so check, but it's not that hard.
We are Gay and Robert. 5 years ago, we quit our jobs, sold our house and all of our possessions, and began living the dream of traveling the world with only backpacks on our backs. After flying over 300,000 miles and visiting 82 countries, COVID brought us to a screeching halt. True to our fashion, we improvised and bought a brand new van and built it out in just 6 weeks to explore the United States until international travel opens up.
So it might be a good time to give you a little insight on COVID and travel. We haven't done a ton of travel domestically in the United States. There's nothing there, but more internationally. So we can give you some insights in case you're nervous about traveling on how that is.
And we've done 2 international flights in the last...
We've done 3.
3 international?
We went to Germany.
Oh, yeah.
And we went to Greece.
Forgot about Germany.
And Italy, and then we flew to France.
True, we did 4.
Yeah.
So we're kind of trying to tell you what maybe be the pros and cons, the ups and downs, or what you really need to be prepared for when traveling internationally.
Yeah, and I think the big thing is it's like needing a visa in these countries. So
Good point.
There's places like Brazil or whatever that Americans need visas. So you need to make sure you have your visas. So the COVID is very similar.
True.
The only thing is the rules change, and they change constantly. Like, I think they try and put them out for a couple weeks, like these are valid through a certain date, but every country is a little different.
Yeah. And so I think at the last minute we were actually downloading paperwork to travel to France because we wanted to make sure we had all the right documents.
Yeah, I mean, every country is different, so you have to look at the requirements. But once you're in the EU, then you can freely travel. Over here, they have a digital green card that shows they're vaccinated, but then they use the U.S.'s card, and that's valid also.
Correct. Sometimes we also needed to hand fill out a form. However, even downloading the documents for France, filling out a form, which actually is for Italy, we weren't asked to show any of that. We just needed our vaccine card and our passport.
So almost every country, except for the United States, I think maybe, that we've been to so far, which has only been a few, require a PLC, which is a passenger locator form. I don't know what the C is for, but anyway, PLC. And Greece required it, Italy required it. Italy uses the EU's version of that, so it's an online app, and so that's very nice. And France does not. France basically has you fill out a form saying you attest that you have not been around somebody with COVID, that you do not have any of the symptoms of COVID, and then you need to be vaccinated. And that's only if you're flying in between EU countries. And so if you're coming from the United States, France is going to have different requirements. Italy required a PCR or antigen test and vaccinated.
Yeah, and those you have to be sure that you're doing the right test, because one is 48 hours and the other one is 72 hours.
But that's not true in all cases. So
Right.
you have to do your research on that.
Right, you have to do due
Many
diligence.
times that is the case, but not always. Even though I think somebody in front of us said Italy. Well, I know, but that's not what Italy's website said. You could do an antigen test. So I don't know if he was flying to Italy.
He was turned
'cause
away.
We saw him in Portugal, so he might not have been flying through to Rome. But
Because
anyway.
his vaccine, or no, his COVID test had been too long ago, and he thought it was close enough, and so he had to fly or jump on a train to get a COVID test while at the airport, and then hopefully catch his flight, which he did.
Right, but we were going to Portugal, so I'm not sure where he was going. But anyway, it's irrelevant because every country has their own rules.
Yeah, I
and
guess
so you
my
have to look
point
at it.
is being you just got to make sure you have every I dotted and every T crossed, regardless.
Yeah, so but it's fairly simple. The airlines check it for you, so when you get to the country, we had nobody check, even though I think they pull random people out to check to make sure they have that PLC done, which is that form, and then the vaccination card. But the airlines do it before you get on board. So they check your passport anyway. If you've flown international before, you know that you have to have your passport checked. And then from there, they check the PLC, and they also check your vaccination card.
And even if you don't happen to check in before you go through security, the flight attendants will check your vaccination card and your passport and your ticket at the desk before you get on the plane. So
And that's variable too.
That is variable.
So I mean, I wouldn't say that because every airline is different, and so we've seen that, but most of them want you to go to the check-in desk before you get to the gate. I think that was in cases where you're flying domestically to there, and then you're flying international out of there. So some cases they will check it at which we've seen, but other times I think you might have to go to the check-in desk.
My point is bringing that up, you just really do everything, and so you won't have any glitches as you travel along.
Yeah, and the best thing to do is to actually check in at the international check-in desk for the airline to make sure you're good. Like United has Verifly, American has Verifly, and a couple other airlines use that. I think United, you submit your documents online. That's the best way to do it. If they allow you to submit it online, that's the way to do it.
Yeah.
It's all variable. You have to check everyone. But I think the key is it's not that hard. It's just one more stressor, but it's okay.
Yeah.
The key is to go get PCR tested before you leave the U.S., which is free. We just went to CVS, and actually they did a PCR test and got us results in like an hour.
Yeah, it was really super easy to do it there as well. The other thing to bring up though is too, if you're going to museums or doing excursions, a lot of them require your vaccination card as well to get in to do that. And if you are eating in a restaurant, some restaurants require a vaccination card available to eat in at the restaurants as well. So I hope that this eases some of the questions that you may have about traveling international. Now, the next time we talk about it, it might be different.
Yeah, it's constantly changing, so check, but it's not that hard.
Yeah, so hit us up with some questions if you have any concerns. Maybe we can help you answer them, but I guess the big message here is due diligence.
Yeah, right, and you can look on I think it's called Sherpa. So Sherpa works with the airlines and gets current information out there. I don't know if you can go straight to Sherpa or not, but just go to an airline and look under
That's a good idea.
their requirements by, like Iceland Air has a really nice site. You can put in there if you're vaccinated, if they require testing, quarantine, all that. So IcelandAir.com is probably the best one out there.
So thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions, leave your comments below.
Subscribe.
And don't forget to give us a thumbs up. We will see you on the next video.
Check the mic and make sure it sound right, boys. It sound right, boys.